Hello, this is Keith All, and tonight's tutorial is going to be on how you can create depth of field in Photoshop, and this is part 2 in a series. If you're an avid Photoshop user, you know by now there are multiple ways, multiple paths that you could create the same end result. So this is just another way that you could create depth of field in Photoshop using another technique. Now, in my previous tutorial, I'll put a link in to that in the description so you could see the other way that you could create depth of field. And I'll have another video or multiple videos coming up to show you different ways that you could do this type of technique. But anyways, you could see on the screen that I have an image, and on the left side of the screen it's clear, it's not blurry, but on the right side it is blurry. So maybe you have an image and you have something in the foreground and you want to keep that in focus, but the rest of the image you want to blur out to bring more attention to what's here in the foreground. So in this tutorial, let's go over to the same image, and what I did to create that was you take the image and you want to duplicate it. So there are multiple ways that you could duplicate a layer. I'm just going to click and drag this on the new layer icon down here. Let me do that again. There we go, and we have a copy of this. So basically what I want to do is I want to use the quick mask mode. The quick mask mode is right down here. It should be right below your foreground and your background tool. A shortcut key would be pressing the letter Q, but I'm going to click on that. If you come over here to the layers panel, you could see that the layer turns red. That means you're in quick mask mode. So my next step is I'm going to use the gradient tool. And before I do that, in this particular example, let's make sure that your foreground color is black and your background color is white. So I'm going to click on the gradient tool. Let's go up to the gradient tool up here in the options bar. And let's make sure that we have foreground to background selected. Click OK. Now, all I'm going to do is what I want to create in this particular image, I want to keep this side clear or in focus, and I want this side to be out of focus. So in order to do it in this way, I'm going to use the gradient tool to draw a line across this way. So I'm going to use the shift key. As I click and drag, it'll draw a straight line. And as you can see, on the left side is going to be like a mask. And on the right side, you won't have that mask. But anyways, in this particular example, now if you understand about layer masks in Photoshop, if you're trying to mask something, basically black on a layer mask hides the layer that contains the mask. So in other words, when I draw this gradient, it's going black to white. So in this case, this side is going to be the mask. So black on this layer mask or whatever hides the layer. So in other words, what's going to happen is the left side of this image is going to be left intact. Basically, you'll see the image below it. But on the right side, this is where the white is being drawn. And remember that white on a layer mask shows the layer that contains the mask. So in other words, it's going to show my out of focus that we're going to create with the lens blur. So after you draw your gradient, what you want to do is click on a quick mask mode again. So in other words, turn it off and watch what happens. It draws a selection on the right side of it. So when we do the lens blur, it's going to blur this area where the selection is. So now let's go to Filter, Blur, Lens Blur, and it opens up like a new window. Give it a second to load. And as you can see, the right side is getting blurry, but the left side is left in focus. And we can adjust the amount of blur by coming over here to the right. And you want to keep the depth map to none in this particular case. And then if for whatever reason that you want to invert this, if you click this checkbox, invert, then this side is going to be out of focus and the right side will be in focus. But let's keep it this way. And you can play around with these shapes. These are just different effects that you could create. I'm just going to keep it hexagon for right now. But this is, you want to pay attention to the radius. So if I bring it over to the left, decrease the radius. Give it a second. You can see the right side of the picture is becoming more in focus. Okay, if I bring it over to the right or increase the radius, it's going to be more out of focus. Give it a second while it's processing my adjustment. As you can see, it's becoming more out of focus. And there you go. So if I click OK, come back here, and let's press Control D to deselect, or you can go up to Select and then select Deselect up here. If I turn this layer off, this is the original image. If I turn this layer back on, now you see that there's depth of field. There's focus over here, and over on the right side, now it's out of focus. So this is just another way that you can create a depth of field example in your images that you're working with. I want to thank you for stopping by today. Remember to subscribe to my channel and click on that bell notification so you always get updated when I upload a new video. And also, please like, share, and comment. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate your support. I'll see you on the next video.